Hi, my name is Benjamin Arnberger. Have you guys ever been to a steakhouse and thought, wow, this is a really good steak? I wish I could make that steak. Well, today, I want to tell you how. So, the way you cook the perfect steak every single time is by choosing the quality of meat, the preparation you take in advance, and executing perfect cooking techniques every single time. So, let's get started. Quality of meat. You have choice and you have prime. Choice is going to be cheaper. It has less marbling. Prime is going to be more expensive. It has more marbling. If you guys don't know what marbling is, it's that intermuscular fat, the little white lines in the meat that gives it that good flavor, like juiciness, that tenderness. The more white lines it has, the more tender it's going to be. Therefore, prime is more expensive and choice is cheaper. It really depends on preference, though. I personally like to go with choice because it's cheaper, but I also use this process called dry aging, which basically breaks down everything and makes it more tender. Jeff Sobel from Texas A&M University is a regent professor there, and he describes dry aging like this. Dry aging is a process whereby beef carcasses, primals, and or subprimals are stored without protected packaging at refrigeration temps to 1 to 5 weeks to allow natural enzymatic and biochemical process that results in improved tenderness and the development of the unique flavor that can only be described as dry aged beef. So if you guys go to a restaurant and you see dry aged beef on the menu and it's more expensive than prime, this is why. Because it takes that 1 to 5 weeks just to even get this process developed into the meat in that flavor. So after you've chosen your choice of meat, whatever it is, choice or prime or dry aged, you need to prepare. So what you need to do is you need to pull that steak out of the fridge, you need to let it sit on the counter and come to room temperature. If you guys don't do this and you guys try to cook it, you're going to cook the outside way faster and the inside is going to be raw. And nobody wants beef tartare at a steak restaurant on your actual steak. That's just weird. Anyways, the second stage of preparation is you need to dry your meat. If you guys don't dry your meat, what you're going to do is you're going to put it on the stove, you're going to put it on your grill, and you're going to cook it, and it's going to cook that watery layer between the steak and the pan or the steak and the grill. And it's basically going to boil your steak. And no one ever goes to a steak restaurant and asks, "Sir, ma'am, can you please boil my steak?" That's just crazy. So no one does it. So dry your steak. Once your steak's dry, you can salt, pepper it, and add garlic to it, whether it's minced or fresh. It doesn't matter. It's garlic. It's going to taste great. After you've prepared in advance for your steak and everything's great, it's sat out, it's dried, it's salted, it's peppered, everything else. What you can do is execute the steak cooking techniques. Now, the way to do that, you can do it with a pan, you can do it with a grill. For a grill, you want to bump up your heat to about 500 degrees or as hot as your grill will go. For me, it's personally 500, 550. I have a little over. Or if it's a pan, you want to crank up the heat as hot as it can until your oil is smoking in the pan. If you're using oil, I would recommend it so it doesn't stick as much. You don't need to. You should, though. And then you should put the steak on one side for about 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes if it's still sticking. Once that steak unsticks from the grill, then we're good. We can flip it. It's got those char marks of that pan sear on it, and that's exactly what we want to trap all that flavor inside the steak and keep it from the juices flowing out. So once we've flipped it over and it's seared the other side, we want to sear a fat cap if it has it. A New York strip will definitely have a fat cap along the side of it, and that's not going to be very great to eat. So what we want to do is render it down with that high heat. And that high heat's literally going to melt the fat, which I know is crazy, but it's going to be awesome. Best fat burner ever. So once we have that good sear and we've seared the fat caps, we want to take it off heat. So if you're on a grill, you want to take it away from the flames and close the lid and then set that heat down to about 300, 350 degrees. And what that's going to do is it's going to cook the meat internally without over searing it. And nobody wants a burnt steak. We just want a good sear mark. Same with the pan. If you guys are cooking on a pan, you guys want to have the sear marks on all the sides, but then you want to turn on your oven to about 350 and put that pan seared steak directly in the oven until it can come up to temp. Now, for temperature, what we're shooting for is about 145 degrees. The Cattlemen's Beef Association says that's going to be the perfect medium rare every single time. So that's what we're going to shoot for. Once it's up to temp, or about 10 under, we can take it out and we can let it rest. You want to let your steaks rest for about 10 to 15 minutes so it re-sucks up all that collagen and that flavor and that beef taste, and it's going to settle within the meat cells. After that's done, the last thing you gotta do is try it. So today, I hope it works out for you guys. But I tried to tell you guys how to cook the perfect steak every single time using the greatest quality of meat, preparation, and perfect cooking techniques every single time. Let me know how it goes.